Everyone's telling you to post more, build funnels, write better emails, but if you want to make more money, there is one simple skill that will unlock an unlimited amount of it. Like so much money, it feels illegal, and no one's teaching it. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you how to master it by taking 8 simple steps right now. And just so you know it works, I've used these to build 6 different multi-million-dollar businesses, including my current business worth over $300 million. They'll turn your boring website into a cash machine, close deals off a single email, and they'll make everyone choose your product over your competitors. Once you see them, you'll never do business the same. Let's jump in. Okay, so these are the 8 simple steps of persuasion. If you learn how to persuade a human being to take the action that you want, especially when you apply this to a business setting, we're talking about persuading somebody to work with you, persuading someone to buy your product instead of a competitor. Now, most people don't understand that persuading people is actually a science. It's not really an art. It's something that you can teach almost anybody. And then if you just follow a couple simple rules, persuading people to buy your product instead of your competitors or spend their hard-earned money with you, even if they've never heard of you before, becomes incredibly easy. So step number 1 is stop talking about you and your product. There's a famous technique when it comes to copywriting, or the act of using the right words on your website, in your email, in your ads, anywhere that you're kind of trying to persuade somebody to work with you. That's called a you check. And basically what that means is you go through your entire website and you check for how many times you're using the word you. Step number 1 is all about avoiding using the word I or my. People don't actually care about your product. They don't care what's inside. They don't care what it's made of, how long it took you to build it. What they care is what it does for them. So check anywhere that you're doing marketing, your website, your emails, your social media posts, your ads, and stop as much as you can. Stop talking about your product, what's included, what it does, how it works. Start doing what is now step number 2, which is talking about your customer and their desires, their problems, their pains, instead of your product. In the end, your customer doesn't care about you, they care about themselves. So that all they want to know is what's in it for me. When I take my cash, give it to you, and get this product back, how does it benefit my life? What is this thing, your product or service, going to do for me? That's what you need to speak to in all of your copy, your website, your emails, everywhere. Talk about your customers' desires. Talk about their problems. Talk about their fears, their wants. Let them know that you've been in their shoes, that you understand how they feel. When you do this, you build connection and you build trust. The biggest thing that your customer wants to know is that you understand them. And so if all you do is talk about your product, how great it is, all the features it has, you're not letting them know that you actually understand them and that the product was created in the first place by somebody who understands the exact problems that they're dealing with, who knows how to deliver on the exact transformation that they want. Step number 3 is a little bit ruthless, but let me explain. This step is all about making them feel the pain. So there's a product that is sold on SamCart, one of our top sellers, called Rapid Radios. And this is a perfect example of making them feel the pain. These guys sell an emergency radio that works nationwide, just like a walkie-talkie. Amazing technology. And these guys could talk about the technology behind this radio, why it works, what makes it so great. But one of the things they do really well is they talk about for the customer, they talk about all of the things that the customer is really scared of. So they tell stories of, hey, imagine, there's a natural disaster and you can't get in touch with your family. Imagine how awful it would be if you're left for hours, days, weeks, maybe even months, and you can't get in touch with the people that you love. Well, this product solves that. This step number 3 of making them feel the pain, it takes advantage of a really strong marketing principle that the fear of loss is in most cases greater than the pursuit of gain. That your customer will respond better if you focus on the loss that they're currently experiencing or that they might experience, instead of trying to sell the gain, trying to sell the benefit of your product. So for a lot of products, it actually does a lot better if you point out those things that they are scared of losing or things that they might already be losing. If you just point that out to them and make them feel that pain. We do this at SamCart. SamCart is an e-commerce platform, and what it really does is it plugs all of the holes in your business. So everyone abandoning your shopping cart before they buy, all the recurring subscriptions that you're losing, all the failed payments that you're losing, all these customers that you are losing out on back-end revenue, SamCart plugs up all those holes. So a lot of times, instead of us focusing on the gain of of revenue, we focus on and make people really feel the pain of what the revenue that they are currently losing today without using a tool like SamCart. Incorporating these little kind of jabs in your copy, on your website, your emails, everywhere else, and reminding people of the losses that they are experiencing by not having your product, a lot of times that can do even better than focusing on the things they are going to gain by getting them. Number 4 is make them envision a brighter future. So a lot of people call this future pacing, but in a lot of our videos and in our sales copy, we will paint this picture of a future world, and we will use words like imagine when, and then we will actually tell the story. We'll kind of paint a visual mental picture for our customer that makes them actually sit there and imagine the world which they could live in once they have this product. So for SamCart, we'll say, imagine waking up every morning to twice as much sales coming in, twice as many customers buying your product, twice as much revenue coming from each customer. If you're running a local gym, you could say things like, imagine yourself waking up 90 days from now and actually liking what you see in the mirror. Imagine seeing 6-pack abs or 3 inches off your waist. Actually use words like this, use phrases like this, tell stories like this that make them actually envision, that they can see, they can taste, they can smell. Bring those things to life. A lot of this comes down to really good storytelling. If you do just a little bit of research and get good at storytelling, there's a million videos on YouTube that are great all about this. You can actually get really good at making people envision that future life, which that brings to life to them this world that they want to live in. And if they envision your product as the vehicle in which they're going to get to that future life, your sales are going to go up. Number 5 is make sure you write at a 3rd grade reading level. Way too often I see products that are trying to sell and they're using jargon or acronyms that only people super kind of deep in that niche or that market would understand. And there's a lot of people that you're trying to sell to that don't understand these acronyms or these terms that you are using, especially when you're trying to sound smart and you're using really sophisticated language. Those things can actually turn off a lot of people. You'd be surprised how many people don't understand what you're trying to say. So anytime that we're communicating, again, through email, through video, through audio, any place where we are communicating to potential customers, we run these things through these checks. Now you can plug all of your text into AI and say, hey, grade my copy, grade this text, and let me know what reading level, what grade, or sophistication level is this copy written at currently, and help me kind of dumb it down. It's not to say that your customers are stupid, but people are busy. They're not going to sit down and read a novel and do all the mental work to understand your text, what you're trying to communicate to them, if it's too sophisticated, if it takes too much mental energy to actually understand. Number 6 is the concept of a simple site design. So there are a lot of really easy tweaks you can make to your website that will double or triple the amount of revenue that your website actually makes. And in the end, they all fall into the same bucket of keeping things simple. Limit the amount of navigation. Every landing page should have one main call to action. The thing that you want them to take action on, that button that they need to click, whether it's filling out a lead collection form or buying your product, those buttons should probably be 2 to 3 times bigger than they actually are. The navigation on your site, like I said, if there's too many things to click on, too many things to read, those things make people's brain do too much work and they will bounce off your site. In the end, most websites would benefit from having a single column design with big, bold headlines, large paragraph text that is easy to skim, bullet points to break up chunks of huge text, images to break up chunks of huge text, and big call to actions. You do those things and make your website easy to read, easy to skim, and your conversions will go up as a result. Number 7 is prove everything. This one is critically important, that every claim that your website makes, you should be able to prove. Every story that you tell, you should back it up with proof that the story is real. Every testimonial that you have, you should go the extra mile to prove that it's real. Little quick examples of this. If you have a testimonial, instead of just a little quote, have the quote and somebody's name. Instead of just their name, have their name and the business that they run or their job title. Add the image to the testimonial. Get a video of that person. Each one of those little steps makes the testimonial more and more believable because now there's a name to the quote. Now there's a job title to the name. Now there's an image to the actual testimonial itself. And then finally, there's a video that you really can't dispute if you're a random visitor on your website. Any claim that you make about your product, even the smallest claims. Think about if you were selling a physical product and one of the claims you made is that it's really light and it only weighs 1 pound. Well, actually show a picture or show a video of your product on a scale and the scale reading 1 pound. I know that might sound trivial, but when you get in the habit of proving every single thing on your site that looks like a claim, as your customers reading through that and you start to prove one thing after another, that pattern makes them think that now everything you say is actually true, that you are trustworthy, that you go the extra mile to actually prove those claims that you're making. And again, the key to persuading anybody to do anything is that first you have to earn their trust. So prove every claim. Number 8, that final step is force them to act. Even forcing all of your visitors into a yes or no and getting them to actually say no is a good thing. You want to get someone to take an action. The biggest thing that kills websites' ability to sell products online today is that most of your visitors do not act. They just read the site. They're not really forced to make a decision, yes or no. And when that happens, you make no sales as a result. So force them to act. My 2 favorite ways to force people into a decision is use scarcity and exclusivity. The way that you do that, if you think about, in the real world, the new Nintendo Switch 2 just came out. I know because my 8-year-old now has one. It took me forever to find one, but they used scarcity. They did not make a billion Nintendo Switch 2s. They strategically made a limited amount so that everybody was lining up at Best Buy the night before, and it was extremely difficult to find. When something is extremely scarce and we can't get our hands on one, like the new iPhone when it comes out, like Tesla's when they release a new car, when those things are scarce, it actually raises the demand of everyone. It makes us all want it more. It's just human nature. And there are ways to do this to add scarcity to almost every product under the sun. Exclusivity is kind of the same thing. Usually by raising the price or limiting the amount of spots in a certain offer, if you have a coaching program or a course, even a physical product, raising the price of it creates exclusivity, makes it seem more premium, makes it seem like your product is better, even if it's not. Now, obviously, you don't want to abuse this, but taking these tactics and using them for good will absolutely increase your revenue. So look, if you master even just one of these 8 things, and there's a bunch of others, but in my opinion, these are some of the best ways to make quick tweaks to your website to get more people to actually buy from you. All of them fall under this bucket of learning how to persuade people to take the action that you want. And in the end, it's really just being a better communicator, to let your customer know you've been in their shoes, that you understand their pain, that you're here to help them, not push your product onto them, and that everything is about them. And then in the end, it's about pushing them and persuading them to make that decision and making it an easy decision for them, not overcomplicating it, making your website too tough to navigate, to understand, writing at that 3rd grade reading level. When you put all of these together, you can take a website that is not making hardly any sales right now and double, triple, even 5 or 10x the revenue that comes from that site. So put a few of these in play. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and let me know how they work for you.